Good morning, everybody. I am very happy to be here today with our DDOT Director, Jeff Muriel, the Metro's General Manager, Paul Wiedenfeld, and the Ward 2 Council Member, Jack Evans. As you can see, we are standing alongside a new dedicated bus lane that is being painted as we speak. These designated bus lanes on H and I Streets Northwest are a part of our summer pilot as we continue looking for how to make transportation more efficient for residents and commuters. So starting Monday, June 3rd and running through September 27, these bus lanes will operate in the right curb lane on both streets during the morning and evening rush hours. And here's why we picked this corridor. Each day, more than 80,000 people, or 40% of all Metro bus riders in the district, 40%, ride buses that use H and I streets for a portion of their route. On the busiest blocks, we can see up to 70 buses per hour. And that's just a small demonstration of how many people are moving through our downtown. People use these buses to get to and from work, to get to appointments, to connect to Metro. People travel through here for many reasons. And while we hope that the painted red lanes and signage will deliver the message that these lanes are for buses only, we also know that it isn't always enough. So starting on Monday, the Department of Public Works and MPD will be working together to keep vehicles out of the bus lanes during the rush hour. We already know that dedicated bus works. Existing bus lanes on Georgia Avenue have increased bus speeds by 20%. Our hope in doing this pilot is that we find a way to make buses, particularly in this corridor, move more quickly and attract more riders. We are also excited to be able to say that the 16th Street dedicated bus lane, stretching almost 3 miles from Arkansas Avenue to downtown, will be up and running next year. So that's good. The future of transportation in D.C. is going to involve continuously finding new ways to get cars off our already congested roads. That's why we have been experimenting with free D.C. Circulator, and while we are still focused on expanding our bus network, and while we're investing $13 million to expand Circulator into Ward 7, not to mention the incredible project that we invested in to transform K Street Northwest. So with that, I would like to invite Jeff Muriel to come to the podium, followed by Jack Evans and Paul Wiedenfeld.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Good morning, everybody. This is a very exciting day for us at DDOT and for our friends at WMATA and really for the entire community. I need to first thank the mayor for her vision and her leadership. It is because of that leadership that we are able to deliver projects like this, and there are several more to come, as the mayor mentioned, as a result of her prioritizing this work in her budget. We are very excited about having this opportunity to work with our colleagues at WMATA to improve bus transit across the District of Columbia. I want to take a moment to thank our team at DDOT, several folks who are here right now, Megan Kanegi and Raka Chowdhury in particular, for their planning work. I want to thank our field operations branch, who you see behind us here, that has been doing this painting work, and they're finishing it today as we speak. And I also want to take a moment to thank the community. There are a number of advocates here, ANC commissioners, members of the bike and bus advocacy community who have been critical to helping us formulate and deliver these types of projects. Last but not least, I want to take a moment to thank our enforcement counterparts. Director Chris Geldart, who's here behind us, who runs the Department of Public Works, who is committed to helping ensure that we're able to enforce these bus lanes, and then also our colleagues at the Metropolitan Police Department, who are also here. This is a team effort, and we are very excited to launch this program on Monday and to help improve collaboratively bus transit service in the district and really across the region. It's now my pleasure to turn it over to our council member in Ward 2, Councilmember Jack Evans.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very much. And again, good morning, everyone. Come on. Good morning. It's good to see everybody on this beautiful day in the District of Columbia. And I want to begin by thanking our mayor for her vision and, more importantly, for her implementation. You know, in the Bible, they talk without a vision, the people perish. But unless the vision is implemented, you have a daydream. So the mayor has taken the vision and actually implemented the vision. So give Mayor Bowser, who's doing a fabulous job, another big round of applause for making this happen. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank Jeff Muriel, who is doing a great job as the DDOT director. Jeff, thank you. Terrific job. And all the individuals, I see Randy Downs from the ANC here today. Thank you for being out here today. Neil Albert from the BID. Neil, give Neil a round of applause, you know, making all these things happen. A lot of the advocates on the bike area and in the bus area. So I can't tell you how excited I am to get these bus lanes finally on H Street and I Street. Yesterday I was driving down K Street, Mayor, and it was kind of, I'd say about 2 in the afternoon. And there were 7 buses that had everything boxed in. You couldn't get around the buses. They were stopped. And as the chairman of the board of Metro, it's like, oh my goodness, most of these are my buses. This is why we need to get the K Street Transit Way done as fast as possible. Fast as possible, and I'm very disappointed that the council pushed it off a year. That was uncalled for. We need to get that done so that people are not caught up in terrible traffic on K Street. Hopefully I and H Street will really make the difference. And what it comes down to, and you, all of you who drive around here know what I'm talking about, enforcement of those bus lanes. And it's the cars, but more importantly, it's the Federal Express trucks and the delivery trucks who will pull into those lanes, and because they don't care about the tickets. And they will block the bus lanes, and it's all for naught. So we really, Jeff, we really got to enforce this and not allow anybody to block those bus lanes. If that happens, we can move people back and forth across this city very quickly. So between the bus lanes, which we're excited about here today, bike lanes, 1 out of every 4 bike lanes is in Ward 2. Ward 2 is the downtown ward with the neighborhood surrounding it. That's why we have so many modes of transportation, whether it's bikes, whether it's scooters, whether it's bus, and Metro. There are more Metro stops in Ward 2, 13, than there are in any other political jurisdiction in the whole region. And that's why we have so many Metro stops, so you can use this not as a commuter rail system, but as a subway system, which it wasn't really built for, but that's what it has morphed into, and that's why it's so important. So we have many modes. We have Metro bus, we have Metro rail, we have bikes, we have scooters, we have everything that can get people around this city, and particularly in the downtown area. So I'm very excited to be here today. Again, I want to thank the mayor for her vision, for Jeff, for everybody getting this implemented, and for all of you in the audience here today, all the advocates who continue to push on this. Please continue to push. Help us make this a success. And so it's now my pleasure to introduce the general manager of Metro, who has done a fabulous job. When Paul Wiedefeld came on board almost 5 years ago now, and I became chairman right after he became general manager, Metro was in a free fall. I mean, it just was. The finances were chaotic. People were dying on the system, and it was just not working. Our reliability, what was it, like 70%, Paul, or something like that? Today, it's a vastly different story. We're not where we want to be. We still have a long way to go. But today, Metro is now 90+% reliable. We are fixing the system, the finances. We've had clean audits and budgets balanced for the last 3 years. And we are really, really moving this system, both bus and rail, forward. We are actually doing a comprehensive bus study of the entire region, all 10 bus companies, trying to figure out how is the best way to service the population in the metropolitan region on bus. Private bus, Metro bus, etc. And so I am very pleased to introduce and bring to the podium and give a big welcome to the General Manager of Metro, Paul Wiedefeld.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's only been 3.5 years. It seems like 5, but it's only been 3.5. First and foremost, I want to thank the mayor, obviously, for this project, but more importantly for your overall support for transit. It's been fantastic over the years and the time I've been here. And obviously, Jeff and Chris, you and your team have been doing a fantastic job. And I want to thank one of our bus operators is here because they do the job every day. They're the ones that actually move the people. And we hear a lot, you know, in the community, we hear a lot about rail when we talk about Metro. And the reality is buses is a huge part of the system. We move roughly 1 million passengers a day. Of those, 400,000 of those are in the bus system. So it is a very important part of the system. So, Mayor, again, I just want to thank you for pulling this together so quickly. And let's get painting.
Thank you. Fantastic. Short and sweet. Thank you, Paul. Not you, Jack. But I think you get the point. And Director Geldart is behind me. And I think you probably see some of the tow trucks that DPW and MPD will use to make sure that bus lanes are clear. I assume that we're using a similar approach to what we have done on H Street Northeast to make sure that the streetcar tracks are not impeded. And we don't want anybody to be towed or to get a ticket. So please be careful of all of our traffic laws. Look out for our buses, pedestrians, and bicyclists who are moving around as well. And we will be able to support all modes of transportation through our downtown and throughout the district. Okay, first questions. Mr. Seagraves.
As far as enforcement goes, what's that going to look like on Monday? Will people actually be towed and get actual tickets on Monday, or will there be a warning period?
I think that we plan to be fully operational on Monday, so we will be enforcing, and that includes ticketing and towing.
So can you tow those, the director or somebody talked about those commercial vehicles being part of the problem. I know they're not any of the news trucks are never the problem, but the delivery trucks. Can you actually tow those large vehicles out of the way, or how does that work?
We can, but that impedes traffic even more if we try to do that with the size of the tow truck that we have to bring down. So what we're doing is we're ticketing mainly on those vehicles. In this right here, on this corridor, through the rush hour time frames, we'll have an increased presence out here to ensure that we're keeping the flow of traffic moving, because that's the ideal, right? So if we do have one of those delivery vehicles that blocks up one of our bus lanes, we're going to use our partnership with the Metropolitan Police Department to get them to move along, and they will get a ticket.
So we're not just talking about parking. You shouldn't be in them at all. So only the buses should be traveling through the bus lane. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Actually, I think all of you, except for maybe Mr. Evans, could weigh in on 4th of July. What's the latest you can tell us about the changes that the president has proposed, how the city's going to deal with it? Mayor, before, when this was first floated, you had publicly urged the president to reconsider giving a speech just because of the pressure that would put on security and logistics and whatnot. Where are we right now with that?
I think our expectation, and I don't have the very latest from our Homeland Security Department, who really helps coordinate all of our agencies about movements. I expect that the latest that we've heard is that there will be a speech and that the location of the fireworks will be moved. So I don't think we have the fine details of the plan yet. So we are preparing for those two things to happen.
What can you tell us about just the added pressure that a presidential speech and possibly protests that go along with that will add to the local government, the police department?
Well, it means that we have to have more resources likely to support the event, police resources to support the president's movements, additional road closures if needed. And if we have First Amendment activity, we, of course, would support that. And we will not have any diminished resources in our neighborhoods because of it. So the chief will work, and he'll figure out if he needs to call in additional aid from the surrounding jurisdictions.
Just how they're going to deal with all of this?
So yeah, we're still in the planning phases of all of this. We just had a planning meeting this week with our federal counterparts and the city agencies. So it's still a lot in the planning phases of getting everything ready. We'll have to provide the resources necessary to ensure that the residents of the District of Columbia and those visitors that come in for the festivities can do so in a safe manner and be able to get around the city the way they need to for that day. So we'll be working with our federal counterparts to make sure we can do that. It will be an increased resource load than any other or other 4th of Julys that we've had. But, we've done these in the past, Mark, as you know, and so we'll continue to do that.
Muriel, can you tell us, should people expect additional road closures from what they normally see typical 4th of July?
As Director Geldart said, we are still working both internally within the district government, but also with our federal counterparts to better understand where there will be road closures, and we'll be communicating with the public as early as we can so that people can prepare for those closures. But the most important thing, as Director Geldart said, is that we are focused on how to keep people as safe as possible all across the city, and all of our planning efforts are along those lines.
Changing for 4th of July because of the president's plans?
Again, I'm sorry to repeat it, but we're all working through this right now. We will adjust. Obviously we do have a lot of issues, different events throughout the year, so we will adjust. But right now it just has not been finalized yet.
You don't know about if any, because typically I think a couple of stations are closed for security purposes on 4th of July.
Again, once they nail down the details, we'll come out with that.
I have one more off-topic
Yes.
question. Can you comment on the violence over the past holiday weekend? There was just a lot of shootings and stabbings, and it's just a very violent holiday weekend for the district, and particularly, the killing of a 15-year-old boy. What is the latest on the investigations and just your reaction to that weekend?
I spent some time yesterday with the commander. We spent a lot of time on MLK and MLK and Malcolm X in Ward 8, talking about how we were deploying, not just for the holiday weekends, but throughout the summer, and particularly our crime suppression areas, our summer crime suppression areas. And all of our additional resources, including the violence interruption programs that are out there that are meant to get in front of incidents before they happen. So MPD continues to investigate on the particular case that you mentioned about a 15-year-old in our city that was senselessly gunned down. I think they're developing leads and good ones, but they continue need the public support in finding out who is responsible. Okay, thank you, everybody.